Welcome back, folks. Another week of the podcast. What a load of balls. I'm DJ Dilworth.
And I'm Simon Little.
And I have a bone to pick with you, Mr. Little.
Why is that,
stitched
DJ?
me up. You stitched me up last week. All right. Now we have an unwritten agreement here. I come up with the content and you do the production.
Yes.
Now, there's been certain weeks where you've cut things out that I've said that I haven't enjoyed. But last week you left in that it was episode 13 when it was only episode 12.
That's unlucky for you, isn't it?
It was unlucky for me. And also, you didn't pick up on it, so it wasn't even deliberate. And that's the biggest talking point from last week's podcast.
No way.
The fact that I said episode 13 and it was meant to be episode 12. So how about this week? We call this one episode 12, even though it's episode 13. And let's just pretend it never happened.
Whatever floats your boat, DJ. Let's roll with it. Let's go.
That's your first official warning. You could be sacked next week.
Right.
All right, folks. It is good to be back. Hopefully you all enjoyed last week's one. We started a bit of a chat about the GOAT. Doing it a bit different rather than just discussing who's the greatest woman, who's the greatest man. We're actually looking at each individual country and going from there. So last week we did Scotland, Simon. A couple of obvious ones there. Margaret Leatham from the women and Alex Taddy Marshall, MBE, for the men. So did you get much feedback off that one last week?
Yeah, I think I had a few people mention to me about some Scottish bowlers that they weren't really aware of. So that was good from, Australians not really maybe knowing all of the Scottish bowlers from the homeland. But yeah, no, it was good. And I think, DJ, coming up this week, we're going to, as you say, touch on another country. So we'll have a look at maybe the homeland of Ireland, DJ.
Yep. Northern Ireland, yep.
And also then we're going to touch on the AO. Australian Open was concluded, so
we'll have a look at that.
Look at that, and then also you've got a big weekend coming up, DJ. You're
Sure
grade 1 and playing in the New South Wales Open State Pennants. So I've got a few questions for you regarding that and a bit of administration, players, how you're preparing for it. So hopefully we get a bit of insights into Club Maitland City and their challenge for the grade 1 title this coming weekend. So that's kind of what's coming up this week. So DJ, we're going to look at Ireland bowlers in a bit of a short list. So what have you come up with this week in terms of your research, DJ, in terms of some of maybe the greatest Irish bowlers?
Well, a little bit easier this week than last week, mate, because we grew up there and we've pretty much heard a lot about it. But definitely some good talent has come from back at home. Looking at the women, there's only really two standouts, mate. There really is. Like I've looked, and there's been some good performances over the last few years with a couple of medals at events, but there really is only two standouts when it comes to the women. That is Phyllis Nolan. Phyllis won 3 gold medals at the World Championships in the pairs, all back to back to back. And she won those with her partner in crime, Margaret Johnson, who we'll talk about in a second. Now, Phyllis didn't represent the Commonwealth Games, which was one of our criteria. Reason behind that, for those that don't know, although we come from that island actually has 2 different countries on it. The northern part of the country, Northern Ireland, where we're from, is part of the UK and qualifies for the Commonwealth Games. The southern part of the country, the Republic of Ireland, doesn't qualify for the Commonwealth Games. So Phyllis was from that part of the world. She's from Blackrock. She's a Blackrock Bowling Club legend. And Phyllis then was ineligible to represent at the Commonwealth Games. So she didn't actually get there. She had a couple of Atlantic stints, and she did win quite a few Irish titles. But yeah, she's standout. Her and Margaret Johnson just dominated the pairs scene for a long time. So they did there from 1988 until 1996, and they did it in Auckland, Scotland, and then back up in England, Leamington Spa. So Phyllis is definitely a worthy mention there. She's the only one comes close to the next lady, and that is Margaret Johnson, MBE. Margaret's just, her record's phenomenal, mate. It really is. Like there's no one from our part of the world that even comes close to her. No. You're looking at 6 gold medals at World Outdoors. You're looking at 2 silvers and a bronze. You're looking at numerous British Isles titles. You're looking at 2 golds at the Commonwealth Games and a bronze at the Commonwealth Games, and the first lady to win the World Indoor Singles. Wow. So Margaret, without doubt, is the one that's going on. Margaret's still kicking at this stage. She's 81 years of age. But yeah, Margaret started the game pretty late. Actually, she was sort of mid to late 30s when she took the game up, which is unheard of nowadays. I mean, everyone up there has been playing for a long, long time. I mean, we talked about talked about Richard Corsi last week, who was picked to represent Scotland in the singles at the age of 20. And one of the Irish blokes we'll look at here was picked at quite a young age too. But Margaret took the game up pretty late. But yeah, gold medal in the pairs in '88 and the silver in the singles. They then came back in '92 and won the pairs, and she upgraded that in the singles. Came back in '96 and won the pairs again. Margaret didn't medal in the singles, but she had a pretty tough section from what I could see from the records. But she came back in 2000 and 2004 and won and then defended the world singles title again. So there's not too many women worldwide could do that type of thing.
Yeah.
So there's not really anyone from the island of Ireland that really comes close to what Margaret Johnson's achieved, especially when it comes to longevity and stuff. Yeah, I don't think there's no debate there. It's just Margaret Johnson goes through as the greatest lady bowler from the island of Ireland of all time.
Definitely agree with that one, DJ. And I remember whenever I first took to lawn bowls, and as a teenager, Margaret Johnson was the name in terms of women's bowls, and she was winning everything, and there was nobody else really sort of came close to her at that stage. So yeah, totally agree with that. And yeah, she definitely is probably the greatest Irish lady bowler of all time. So yeah, DJ, moving on to the men, you've got a little short list of Irish men's bowlers.
Yeah, man, there's quite again. It was a hard one, not a hard one to cut down. Like there was a lot of names that come to mind straight away, obviously, because like we've talked about, we've played with them all, played against them back at home. We know who's good, who's not. And there's a lot of worthy people there, but there's four standouts. There really is, and that's giving an honourable mention outside of those four to the likes of Sammy Allen.
Yep.
Now Sammy is an absolute legend. Sammy, along with Jim Baker, paved the way for us. He was a legend growing up. I haven't put Sammy in my top four.
Yep.
So I haven't. There's a few others who snuck in ahead of him. You got the likes of Noel Graham that not many people would have heard of as well. Like Noel was Irish team captain for a long time as well. He's been to Worlds and Commonwealth Games. Marty McHugh, and I haven't even got him in my top four.
Wow.
Yeah,
no way, DJ. I was expecting Marty to be in your top four. So
I haven't got Marty in there, mate. Marty's phenomenal. Some of the Irish titles and stuff that he's won. When you look at the criteria, though, he's got that elusive gold at the World Championships.
Yeah, okay.
Hasn't got one.
Yep.
Alrighty, and he's been there in the singles and stuff too, and didn't quite get over the line, so that's why he hasn't made it there. He got current Irish manager too, Neil Booth. Not in my top four.
Yeah, okay.
Not in my top four.
I guess that's coming back, DJ, to the criteria we came up last week, and
you
got to achieve stuff on the world stage, both Northern Hemisphere, Southern Hemisphere, and yeah, I think that relates back to that. Was why they're probably not in your top four. So moving on, then, top four. Who we got?
Who do we start with? We'll go with one of the current ones, and that's young Gary Kelly.
Yes.
So Gaz, as we talked about in his interview, and a lot of people weren't aware of, Gary got on the scene as an international pretty early.
Yep.
Hit the ground running. He went to the 2010 Commonwealth Games, so he was only about 21 then, so he was. Got a bronze medal at Delhi. He's since cracked on and got a silver in the Worlds, a gold in the Worlds, and another silver in the Worlds. And he's got that silver in the Commonwealth Games as well, just from Birmingham there in the singles. Gary, this comes down to, and the World Singles, as well, at Warilla, the World Cup that he won. He was the last ever World Cup winner back in 2019 at Warilla. A lot of this comes from it being able to play a lot and watch a lot of Gary. And obviously he's on the TV all the time out here too, performing in the BPL, the UBC. He's always going deep in championships and that. He flies he's on the live stream every other day because he's in Queensland or New South Wales or Victoria or somewhere playing for someone. So Gary has to be in our top four, and I really think that World Championships last year, and I had this conversation on the side with Jeremy when we were talking about it last year, like I think his performance at the World Championships last year really catapulted him into that conversation of the greatest of all time from where we're from.
Yep.
I think there's a few things maybe just if you look at his record, maybe you can maybe just question and hold him back a bit. But the fact that he went and won that pairs and he got to the final of singles, like he only lost like 2 games in 2 weeks. Yeah. And one of those was the final. It was insane. And like he talked about, I can't remember if he talked about it in the interview because that conversation with him went for 3 hours, but I didn't realize just how close him and Adam went to actually going out in the group stage of the pairs.
Yes, I think he went right down.
Yeah, went right down to the last bowl and did that. So for him to pull things out like that under those circumstances in a World Championship and then go on to win it, Gary's well and truly in the conversation. You just have to see the way he plays, man. He's just a phenomenal talent. He always has been. He's well and truly in that conversation. Longevity, he's definitely still at the start of his longevity. It'll be interesting to see now because I know we're having issues trying to get the Commonwealth Games back up and running.
Yeah,
it's meant to be. Australia stuffed that up down in Victoria. We'll leave it at that. But
thanks, Dan Andrews.
Yeah, I know. Will he get to represent again in that? Hopefully, because he's still got that gold medal in the singles that he wants to win. But Gary's well and truly in that conversation, I think. I'm talking about longevity. This next fella is in there for that particular reason. Made his debut at a Commonwealth Games in '94 in Canada at the age of 21. Alrighty. He doesn't have a World Championship outdoor. He's got a World Pairs indoor. He's got 1 silver medal in the outdoors, and he's got 5 bronze medals in the outdoors. And he's got 2 gold medals at the Commonwealth Games in 1998 and 2022. And he's got a bronze, like I said there, from his very first Commonwealth Games in 1994. Ian McClure.
Ian McClure, yes.
Ian McClure. Yeah, I don't think Ian has to be in there. Obviously, Jeremy's offsider. They've played a lot of bowls together. I think they won the British Isles title in the triples at like the age of 18. Yeah. And back in those days when you were competing with the Jim Bakers and the Sammy Allens and, the Tony Alcotts of England and people like that there, like that was a massive achievement for them to do that. But Ian's been around for so long. Like I said, he made his debut in '94 there at the age of about 21. I think he was. He's now 50 and still going, still winning medals, He's Ian has to be in that conversation. Him and Jeremy were the first qualifiers to win the World Pairs back in 2004 on the indoors, in the World Indoors. I just have to look at his title in Irish Bowls, mate, and like I said, he's selected pretty much for all these events and has been since 1994. I think he's maybe missed a couple in between, but Ian's well and truly in that conversation as well. And a lot of the guys in Australia will know who Ian is too from obviously watching on TV, and he has come out and played Premier League as well down at Tarrant Point.
Yep.
Him and Jeremy were heroes down there at Tarrant Point there for a while. So
there's definitely been a few stories, DJ, that I've heard over the years of them too when they first came out of Tarrant Point. That was prior, obviously, to me landing at Tarrant Point, but there's been definitely a few tall tales of the adventures of Ian McClure and Jeremy Henry at Tarrant Point. So they definitely paved a good path for the likes of us, DJ, coming over, him and Jeremy, and definitely put Ireland bowls and Irish bowlers on a good footing over here. So he definitely is well known around these parts of Sydney.
And just there's not too many more competitive than Ian. You just have to watch his demeanours around the green. I don't know if it's gamesmanship or what, but he pushes it to the highest level with. And Gary said that too. Like he takes you to places you don't want to go. It's a mental battle when you play against Ian too. He knows, and he's an absolute student of the game. And he's another one doing magnificent things back at home for trying to promote the game and bring it to different areas of the community that it maybe hasn't touched on before. I see a lot of para stuff happening back at home now, and Ian seems to be heavily involved in that.
I think, DJ, that might be a good sort of to maybe try and get him onto the podcast, DJ, to have a chat about that, because the stuff that Ireland Bowls are currently doing is really good in terms of, how do I put it, like an association, maybe not well run, but as in depth as what maybe Bowls Australia or what we do over here, from a, everyone says, plucky Ireland kind of mentality that we're really pushing para bowls. He's really delving into scouting and juniors and things like that. So it'd be great to get his insights into how that process started, happened, is evolving for all those other sort of countries and out there that aren't at the echelon of, bowls in Australia. Might be interesting, DJ, to get him on board and see if we can have a chat with him.
I did make that comment one week when I seen he liked one of our posts. So I am back home later in the year, and McClure and also Boothie, if you are listening, you're on the hit list. We'll see what we can do and see if we can get them on here. You will, like, people think I'm hard to understand, mate. You'll have to work on the subtitles for your production for that one, so you will, if we get that happening.
Slow it down to 0.5 speed.
We'll see how we go,
Go there.
See how we go. All right, so that's 2 of my top 4. Next one, talked about him there briefly anyway, with being Ian's partner in crime. Jeremy Henry, what a player. Like, he's just killing it out here in Australia. He won men's pairs gold in 1986. He went and won the singles in 2000 in the World Bowls, and then 1998 men's singles and the bronze in the Commonwealth Games. And then he's got 2 silvers, one in the singles in 2002, which was a fantastic game for Jeremy, and the fact that he was asked to carry the flag, the Northern Irish flag, out there in the stadium at Manchester.
I remember watching that as a teenager, DJ, and I like to see that. A lawn bowler carrying the flag. That to me,
it was awesome.
That was inspirational, definitely.
Certainly was. And then 2006, he silver medal in the men's triples, where he lost to good mate Wayne Turley. So he did in the final of that, and I think that's where that whole conversation around Premier League and that started. And him and Ian came out and played at Tarrant Point. I think it was a bit of a controversial one, that too. I think I recall, and I'm happy to be proved wrong here, but I think I recall an interview after the game where they asked Jeremy how he felt with winning the medal, and he said not bad for someone that wasn't selected originally.
Ooh.
But no, Jeremy's an absolute legend. I mean, I just know from growing up, like, him and Ian were the two that we were looking up to. Like, and Jim, the next one I'm going to talk about too, Jim Baker as well. Like, they were the ones that you sort of looked up to. But Jeremy and Ian were not that much further ahead of us in age. So, and they were bringing sort of a new dimension to the game with the clapping and the yo-hoing and the fist pumping and the getting into. You know, I think a lot of that's come from their sort of generation. And that's why we played the game the way we played it. So there's a lot to be answered for that. Jeremy, then, that World Cup, he had a little bit of success there. I think it might have only been like 6 titles in 7 years or something. You know, he went quite well there, And then Jeremy obviously he moved out here in 2009, and he gave up the right to represent Ireland and Northern Ireland after he did that, I believe. So he hasn't been picked in anything really since the 2008 World Championships. I think was Jeremy's last crack at anything. But would have been if he had been still at home. He would have been, mate. He's phenomenal. Just phenomenal.
By my recollection, DJ, did Jeremy not don the Australian jersey one time?
Well, I think with the World Cup he had to, because he qualified through Australia.
That's right. He won the indoor singles, and then qualified for the World Cup, and that was definitely interesting to see Jezza wearing the Australian shirt.
It would have been, and I'd love to know if there's any conversations behind the scenes to try and get him to change allegiance full time and maybe play Commonwealth Games or World Bowls for Australia. But with all the high performance and all the fitness stuff coming in, I don't really think Jeremy's one for going for a run too far. So I don't. So he likes to sit at the bar and prop up the bar.
That's the best place to be, DJ. I don't think I'll be going for too many runs either.
I'll take you. Absolutely not. I'm there too, but I'm only on the Pepsi Maxes as opposed to the scooters that you boys are on. But no, absolute legend of the game, mate, and he's still doing it now. Obviously, he played in the Platinum Pennant final there recently with Warilla, and he's been at Warilla now since I think I said 2009 there. So he's just going strong, and he seems to have had a bit of a resurgence in the last sort of 12 months. He's been winning. He was winning everything there. So he was, but he's definitely, without any shame, he's an idol of mine from growing up, and definitely him and Ian were the two that I was looking at pretty closely going, I wouldn't mind trying to play alongside these boys if we ever get good enough, you know?
Yeah, they definitely took it to the next level, I think, in terms of when we were on the bowling green as teenagers, that they were the guys that were going to world events, not just winning Irish titles, but they were the guys going overseas, and you'd see them maybe on the odd TV here and there. And they definitely were taking it to the next level. As you say, they were sort of not that much older than what we were, so definitely guys that we looked up to as teenagers on the bowls green.
Definitely. And the final one I want to talk about then is, and we mentioned before, Jimmy Baker. He's got a stadium named after him at home. He was the first Irishman to win the World Indoor Singles in 1984. 1984 it was, and then he backed that up in the World Outdoor Championships in 84 with the triples, 88 in Auckland with the fours, 2004 then won the fours again, and also in 2004 came runner-up in the pairs in the World Championships, and that came down to losing a count towards the end against a very, very young Ryan Besser at the time. So he was. But Jim ticks all those boxes. World Championships, Commonwealth Games, done it indoor. He's just a legend of the game back at home. Longevity's there too. Like he was playing right up again until he might have even played World Championships in 2008 as well, you know. Yep. Jim's 66 years of age now, I believe, and still skipping at the highest level back at home. Northern Ireland Private Greens Division 1 for Ballymena Bowling Club. And just an absolute legend. And, one of probably the only fella to refuse a handshake of mine after a game.
No way. What did you say to him? Can that not be repeated on the podcast?
No, it can. It was youthful exuberance. James Gaston's going to be cracking up back at home with a minute. He loves this story. We're playing a private Greens Cup game.
Yep.
So we were, and it was tight on the big board, and we just picked up a large count, and like my skipper I was playing third at the time. My skipper had mountains of room to draw for the seventh shot, and I was calling it in hurry for the 7. So it was. Now I was 17, 18 at the time. I was, as I said, youthful exuberance.
Yeah.
The game was tight overall. We had a position a couple of rinks over, which didn't quite know, do I play the shot, do I not play the shot? He knew we were getting 7. That's all I was trying to do. Jim got very offended by that, muttered a couple of names under his breath at me.
Yeah.
And, at the end of the game, refused my handshake. That cut me, Dave. That made me rethink a few things on the green.
Yep.
He did come back and apologize to me a few weeks later. The under-25 inter-association, not apologizing for what he called me, but apologizing and saying, "Look, I still should have shook your hand after the game. I didn't think what you did was right, but let's move on from it." And that was good for me too, because, like I said, again, unshamefully, I was he was the legend. He was the main man. All right.
Yeah.
And he refused my handshake. I was in the change room after the game in tears, going, "I can't believe I've just done this." But not only that, mate, he was the Irish team manager. Any selections I wanted was done and dusted.
The red pen was coming out then, DJ, for your name.
Oh, man, it was red, black, and every colour, I think. But yeah, I believe Dad went and had a few words with him that night. And then luckily my good mate Andy Duncan, who played with him at the time, had a few words later on. And I think Jim acknowledged that, maybe I shouldn't have done what I did, which I acknowledge as well. But he came back and apologized for it, and he was good with me ever since that.
Yeah.
But there you go. Just a little bit of trivia for you.
Well, DJ, going back to what you said at the start about Jim Beck, and you said a stadium named after him. Just for any of our listeners out there, a stadium is an indoor bowling arena.
Yeah.
So we kind of say it's a stadium back home in Ireland, and there's one named after Jim Baker.
You say stadium, I say stadium.
Okay,
all right.
Stadium.
So
how about that?
Which is what our reference was to the indoor long mat, which we played back at home. There's only 3 of those in our country, so there was. But that's what we played. We've referred to for the long mat, which we played indoors.
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't have the clubs at home that we did out here, which we touched on a few episodes ago. Make sure you all go back and listen to that one. Well, that's my top 4.
Yep.
I mean, it's a very, very hard one. McClure deserves to be in that conversation just for his longevity, and he keeps winning medals. Like, Gary's definitely of that list. He's the up-and-comer, but he's doing it now. Jeremy was the one, like I said, sort of paved the way for us, and then Jim was the one that paved the way for Jeremy and all them to come through too. Like,
yes,
with what Jim
it's a
achieved
tough one,
now.
DJ. All 4 are definitely up there in terms of. Could easily be the greatest of all time.
It is, and it comes back to what we talked about last week too, with trying to compare the eras. Like, I know they've all got that bit of longevity, but I'd love to see what Jimmy B would be doing right about now.
Yeah, playing the likes of Ryan Bester or Aaron Sheriff. Or
Jimmy had that flash drive that everyone liked. He had the big drive, and but if you're pointing a gun to my head, which is probably talking about our country, it's probably not the right phrase to be using, but if you're pointing a gun to my head, you're pointing a gun to my head, I'm gonna put Jeremy through as the greatest of all time from Northern Ireland.
And how do you come to that conclusion, DJ?
Just from those achievements at the World Cup, to do it for that length of period, to do what he's done there, to be able to carry the flag out of the Commonwealth Games, you have to be acknowledged for doing something special, and that was winning that World Singles in Johannesburg in 2000. And I feel like with him and Ian together, I feel like they changed the game a bit at home.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd have no doubt that Jeremy would still be picking those things had he stayed at home, but he made the decision to come out here, do it professionally. He's played at the top level here. He's still one of the best in the country. And for that particular reason, and having seen them all played with and against them all, it's very close between him and Jim, but I'm going to give it to Jeremy on this instance, mate. So I reckon Jeremy.
Yeah, I think I kind of agree with you. If you were to ask you this question again in 10 years' time, I know what your answer will be.
Only if he wins stuff.
Oh, well, I think he will. So
yeah. Gary's going to be up there.
Yeah,
but Gary's doing what Gary's doing because Ian McClure and Jeremy Henry allowed him, paved the way for that to happen, and Jim did it at the very, very start too, along with Sammy Allen. I think Sammy's a little bit unlucky not to get a mention in there too, but when you want to go back through the medals and have played with these guys, I just think that would be my top 4. and then Sammy Allen hanging onto the back end of it.
Okay,
So
good stuff, DJ. So we've got
right.
Jeremy Henry and Margaret Johnson as the two greatest Irish bowlers going through to, I say, a collective of those 7-8 different sort of regions, countries that we're going to look at. So that's Scotland and Ireland ticked off, DJ, and we'll have a look at another country and a short list of a few of those players from a different country next week.
Well, Simon, just after you finish coughing up a lung there, I hope you cut that out. Seems that you've got that bit of a flu thing that I had the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'm sure the listeners can hear it, DJ. I'm definitely feeling a little under the weather this week. Yeah. But, the show must go on, and we're still going to put some content out there, DJ, regardless of whether a little bit of man flu won't hold me back.
Yeah, good on you, buddy. Right, so we touched on the Aussie Open last week, mate. That's all finished up, done and dusted. Did you get to watch any of the games on Fox or live stream or anything like that?
I watched one live stream game, DJ, and that was the men's fours final. And the reason for that, I was actually at home that evening, so that was, I didn't have to watch it on my phone or anything. I put it on the big TV, and our good mate Gary Kelly was playing alongside with fellow teammate Taryn Point Riser. So I wanted to tune in and see how the boys went, and yeah, guys got across the line in a really tight game. Men's fours and some marking bowls played, but yeah, it's nice to see the guys pick up the chocolates and win the men's fours at the AO. And the only other thing I did see, DJ, was the final bowl of the men's singles. Did you see it?
I've seen most of the game, but yeah, definitely seen that one. That was pretty spectacular, wasn't it?
That was a spectacular finish. To play that bowl and basically get a back toucher or side toucher to win the AO. Unreal. Not
only just win the AO, but to win the AO for the third year in a row, men's singles, and to win it for the fourth time in 5 years, and to win it for the sixth time overall, Aaron Sheriff.
Yeah.
What a player. Ugh. Hats off. Jeez, there's nothing to describe that. Like, game against him too.
Yeah.
Game against him.
Yeah.
And I'm going to shoot myself in the foot here maybe, but I think from memory too, the first three bowls of that end, he played on the forehand. And then he switched to the backhand and drew the absoluter over. And Cohen Litfin was great to watch, and awesome achievement getting to there, and the whole game to be beaten by one of the best ever.
Oh, yeah.
With the last bowl of the game, and it's just like you only dream of doing stuff like that. But yeah, Omar, he just lives it, man. He lives for that type of thing. And interesting interview after the game too. I don't know if you heard it, but he was saying like coming into this, he's probably been in the worst form he's been in.
Yeah,
and he was tinkering with his delivery and everything.
No way.
But mate, obviously he just knows what he's doing up there and those grains. He just knows to go to another level. So this is just where it comes down to the mental side of things. But to go 3 years in a row undefeated at the Australian Open, and it's not like we touched on there. Well, we talked about it. The entries, the amount of men that were in that singles,
yeah, and the amount of games you got to play to get to the final.
But then, and then like last year too, where he made all three finals last year. So it's just play after play after play, and to get yourself up and go again, and just that mental side of it. Like Aaron's just got something special to be able to do that. So yeah, as you said, 21-19, he won that game, and it was one of the epics. So it really was
definitely great achievement from Cohen, as you say, like to get there and to take Aaron Sheriff right to the final bowl is a massive achievement. To be one bowl away from winning the AO and beat Aaron Sheriff, like you definitely have to play well and have some good talent on the bowls green to get that far. Going back to Omar or Aaron Sheriff, I played against him this year, Platinum Pennants, and
you love a name drop, don't you?
It's just DJ when he stood on the mat with a bowl, and just going, this guy's going to draw a back toucher every bowl. That's it. That's what you expected from him, and that's what he delivered, more or less. And you just going, well, you play against other players and good quality skips. Yeah, you would expect them to miss one or two, or maybe a few wayward ones. But when he steps on the mat, you're going, we basically need to have a front toucher and a back toucher, and yet he'll still manage to get something close, and he'll still manage to turn heads over.
just exudes confidence, doesn't he? Like, you just watch him walking up and down the green, just the way he struts up and down. He's just a confident man. And I was having that conversation, actually. I watched the first part of the game in the club with Brody Pitham, and Brody played a lot coming up with Aaron. Them two were like in something ridiculous, like 3 under-18 finals in a row against each other. 2 of the youngest guys to ever be capped by New South Wales. So Brody played a lot with Aaron. He just said, "He says, look, just on the green, DJ, just absolute confidence. He's just confidence in everything. He's going to play every shot, and you just see that." So yeah, absolute. It was a joy to watch that, mate. For Cohen, and you could see it you could just see it in his face.
Yeah.
Like, heart was on his sleeve. He was so close. But yeah, by all means, to lose to that ball, that's, you never want to lose, but you didn't lose the game. The game was won by Aaron.
Was won.
So it was.
Correct.
That's the way it was.
Yep.
But and then the women's was an epic too, mate. Again, same scoreline, 21-19. We had Kelsey Cottrell up against Lara Butler. Now, Lara's a Switzerland international.
Really?
So she's from Western Australia. I believe her dad's Swiss from way back. But yeah, Laura, I say Laura, I'm sorry about this. It reads Laura, but it's actually Lara.
Yeah.
Lara got up in that one, 21-19, and I think she took out a 3 on the last end to win that one, and phenomenal game again. And against, again, one of the best around in Kelsey. Like, Kelsey's been and won a heap of these Australian Open titles in all disciplines, especially the singles. For Kelsey Kelsey might have been in her 3rd final in a row as well. Everything was stacked up, but yeah, Lara got the better of that there. Again, very, very good final, so it was.
Yep.
Moving on to the pairs. Hey, the men's pairs was another epic last end. Did you see any of that one?
I didn't see any of that one, DJ. Fill us in on what happened.
Nathan Rice, phenomenal. 3 down playing the last end on the board. He draws 3 inside a foot to take it to an extra end. And then held game. And then young Jack McShane came down, got the ball onto the jack, killed it, removed the ball, respotted it, had the shot.
Oh.
So the two teenagers, Joey Clark and Jack McShane, Australian Open champions over Nathan Rice and Flynn O'Shaughnessy. What a name.
You love that name, DJ. You mentioned it last
week.
week.
I gotta find out his background. He's down there as ACT. Listening to him speak, he's definitely got an Australian accent. He doesn't sound like me and you. But he's just relocated from listening to the interviews at the start of the game. He's just relocated up there to Queensland as well, where a lot of people seem to be going. And yeah, Nathan's admitted too, he wasn't even in the pairs, and Flynn just rang him one day and said, "Oh, I need a partner. Do you fancy playing?" And here they are, shot, lost out on the extra. Yeah. Extra end, so it was. So yeah, fantastic game to watch too, that one. So it was. And I'm going to be honest, I didn't see the women's. You got one of your predictions right to make it through to the final.
I did, yes.
So you did? Yes, you did. You got Ellen and Christina made it all the way through. Playing it the other way around this time from what we normally see. Ellen usually skips and Christina leads. They played it the other way around. They got up over Taylor Bruce and Jessie Cattell, 17-9.
Just goes to show DJ, like, a good pairs partnership doesn't necessarily have to be a skip and a lead, like as in defined, I skip every week, so therefore I should skip. You should really, both players should be just as equal as each other. And maybe that's a positive thing that people should look at, is in pairs partnerships, that you can actually flip it around and change it up sometimes. If somebody's not performing to their best, maybe you can change it up and see how you go.
Yeah, we tried that too, but we had a lot more success when I skipped from memory. But doesn't work all the time, does it?
Not all the
anyway,
time. Not all.
We'll go back to the men's fours, mate. So you mentioned that the team of Ray Pearce, Peter Taylor, Gary Kelly, and Carl Healy got up. Mate, 10 shots to 8. That is a very low-scoring game.
It wasn't
against Jack McShane, Joey Clark, Sean Baker, and Ben Twist. So have you got any more synopsis or review of that particular game, mate? Like I said, 10-8 just to me shows tight game.
It was a tight game, and yeah, it was like 1-1, 2-1, and just shows the quality of the players that were on that rink. Like the 2 young lads, they just won the pairs and came out then and played in the fours final. And yeah, if you look at Razor, Carl Healy, Gary, like that foursome there, obviously a lot of experience at international level, and that's what you kind of need to get to that kind of event. And like the AO is just quality once you get down to the nitty gritty. And yeah, it's very rare to see an average Joe get to the back end of the Australian Open. Average Joes like me and you, DJ, we don't get anywhere near to that. So
That's the nicest thing you've ever said to me. Call me average. So it is. Thank you, Simon. It's only taken 12 or 13 episodes. I'm not sure, but I mean, it's the nicest thing you've said to me.
Yeah.
I'm glad I could cheer you up, mate, when you're sick. It's good.
It's always good, yeah.
And then finally, we could go on forever because there were so many other events, but we'll look at the women's force as well. That came down to a 15-shot to 8 win. Louise Cronin.
Yep.
She's one of yours as well, isn't she?
Yep.
Elle Chinnery, E. Boyd, and Carrie McCarrahan, who isn't a Tarrant Point player, but she's linked to Ali Forsyth, who is a legend at Tarrant Point.
Well, Leanne Chinnery is a Tarrant Point player.
Yep. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So 2 of them are Tarrant Point players, and one, as you say, Kelly is the partner of Ali Forsyth, who was a long-standing member of Tarrant Point.
And they had a win over Kira Bork, E. Simmons, Cassandra Millerick, and Kylie Whitehead. So absolute quality there in that women's force final. But yep, well done to the Tarrant Point team and other for winning that one. So very good, very good. All right, so that finishes up the AO, mate. There was a big announcement during the AO. Some world rankings were released.
That's it, DJ. There was came out.
So you want to talk us through that? I've seen it. I haven't really looked into it, so we might talk about that in a bit more detail once we understand it a bit more. But there was a big announcement mid AO. Do you want to talk about that?
So they announced a World Bowl series, DJ, and official world rankings, which were announced, and it was Kelsey Cottrell and Aaron Sheriff were named the number 1 ranked bowlers in the world, according to this new World Bowl series. Now, as you say, we haven't delved into it. There is a website. It is worldbowlseries.com and tells you a bit more information. We'll have a delve into it this week, DJ, and have a bit of a summary of it for our listeners next week. But there's a bit of a calendar. There's events throughout, not just like sort of in Australia, but there's events all over the world to cater for other countries too, that you can gain ranking points and see how you go in those events. And the AO was one of those events, DJ, so that was I guess that's why it was announced at the AO.
Well, there's not a bigger event in the world outside of the World Championships and the Commonwealth Games to announce that type of thing, so obviously it's a good. So yeah, it's good to see them introducing something like that, man. And I believe that you can actually jump on there and search your own name and see if you've qualified if you've played in any of those events. Because Nigel Beggs was able to do that.
Okay.
And he got to be ranked 170th in the world. So well done, Nigel. Obviously, me and you need to find a couple of events, mate, because if he can do it, I'm sure we got every chance as well.
I think we could, DJ, maybe. Right? Maybe we have to look at that calendar of events and see if there's something we can play in. Well, Australian Open is definitely in one, so next year, let's team up.
Man, I don't want to jinx it, but I think I got a permission slip.
No way.
So I do.
The wife is going to let you go to
we were talking about it. We were talking about it. I told her I'm not getting any younger. You know? Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how we go. Do I need to write a letter to your better half to get permission for you to go, or?
Well, maybe a word in her ear might help.
Some freshly baked soda bread, mate. Maybe do the job. What do you reckon?
Might go down a treat, yeah. Definitely.
Good on you. All right, mate. So you touched upon last week as well. I've got the Bulls New South Wales State Pennant Finals this week. Grades 1 to 7 will be playing all across New South Wales. We've been lucky enough to qualify in Grade 1, which you so kindly has referred to as reserve grade because you play Platinum. But yet we are in the New South Wales Grade 1 Finals. We're heading to Edalong this weekend. So I believe you wanted to ask a few questions about that, mate?
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting, DJ, for our listeners to kind of get a bit of a background into how you prepare for taking, say, a team away to an event. Something that
the side of bowls that a lot of the players don't see, because a lot of them just go, I've played my regional pennant final, I've won a flag, I'm going to state finals, I've got to be there at that time.
Yes.
And they just do that.
And it just
happens. Up to me to make that happen.
Yeah. So for all our listeners out there that aren't in Australia, you win your regional sort of league, as you might say in other countries, and you go through and then compete against the winners of all the other regions and to try and win a state flag. So that'll be equivalent maybe of like a national flag or a national cup or something like that. Wouldn't you say, DJ?
Yeah, close to it. Obviously, we are a state within a country, so there's other states doing the same thing, but we don't, because of the pure size and logistics of it, we don't get the opportunity to play for a national title.
No,
but yeah, that's the pinnacle of the game. Pennants is and always will be to me. Test match cricket, whatever it is, it's the pinnacle of the game. It's the team event. In our particular format, it's 12 players fighting out for the club to try and beat the other teams and get over the line. So it'll always be, to me, the pinnacle of the game. So Pennants.
So your team is heading off to Edlong, I believe you're playing at.
Yep.
This weekend.
Luckily, not too far to travel, luckily.
Not too far. So
it's only about an hour and 20 minutes or so from where we are at Maitland.
Yep. So DJ, on the lead up to this week, what are some of the preparations that you've put together for your players? Interesting to know is there anything you guys are doing preparation on the green on the lead up to the game? Is there anything that you put together for the players?
Might be a little bit different from some of the other clubs and the clubs that live and breathe the sport. I do have a lot of guys, obviously being in the Hunter Valley, that are shift workers in mines and other walks of life and stuff, obviously. So getting everyone together for particular training sessions is nigh on impossible. All right. Yep. So these guys, I'm very lucky that these guys put the efforts in and give their time and even use up annual leave when need be to play the pennant season and not miss games during the pennant season. So once we get that over the line, it's a case of, right, I'll throw a few dates out there. If we can get the majority there, we'll do it. If not, I'm just relying on these guys to be adults and get the job done themselves. They know. Like a lot of these guys, the players that are on my particular side, like I've got guys that have played for New South Wales for ages. I've got guys that played for Australia. I've got guys that played representative, won state titles, won zone titles. So they know what they need to do to get themselves right.
Yep.
So a lot of the time, that's just a little reminder here or there, just touching base. Obviously, I've got a particular group that I just send the messages out to so they all get the information. And the biggest thing is just making sure they're all informed as well, too. So like the minute we knew we qualified, it was, right, where are we going? We're going to Edlong. Okay, I've got to be down there. We're playing Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Mm-hmm. We got to get down there Thursday. I got to get accommodation sorted.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the next thing. Work within the budget, obviously, of the club. So, but yeah, you got to work on your accommodation.
5-star accommodation then?
We're not a small club. We do okay.
Yeah.
So, but we know there's not a lot to choose from down there at Edlong, but yeah, no, we are. So the next thing obviously is accommodation, and my biggest thing, I suppose, everything that I think, and it's not just because I'm involved in this side, but you can, like our 4 grade that went away last year, our men's division 3 that went away this year, and all that there. My biggest thing is to take away all the external elements as best I can. So that these guys can just focus on playing the game of bowls on the green, because there's different factors come into it at state pennant. There's different pressures. There's different environments that people aren't necessarily used to. But the minute you get on that green, it's just bowls. You know, it's line and length. You know, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, I think your comment there with regards to external factors, that is definitely something that I would say is key. And I was going to say, what are those external factors that you can sort of take away from the players that they don't have to worry about? Obviously, you want them just to focus solely on bowling, playing their best.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what are some of the things, DJ, like external factors that you can take away from the players that...
Well, I got touched on there. I mean, getting all the relevant... So like I said, it's getting all the relevant information to them. We always know when we go down to state pennant, you're going to start the game on the Friday morning. So Thursday afternoon, you're going to have a roll-up time. What time's that going to be? All right, so that's going to be either 2 to 3 or 3 to 4. Okay, so then then the next thing is, how are we going to get there?
Yep.
So because we're not traveling too far, we've just elected we're just going to take our own cars down so we can do our own thing. It's not too far from the accommodation to Edlong Bowling Club anyway, and everything else is pretty nearby too. It's all walking distance, so we don't need a bus.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're just going to get ourselves down there, have a team lunch beforehand, have a roll-up. So the main thing is getting there. Who can get there by that time? Like I said, I've got some shift workers. Are they going to take the day off to get down there when I need them, or what's going to happen? But obviously, right, fellas, this is the time we need to be there. Okay, so they know that. Great. Okay, they know where they're staying. Right up. Lunches. So it's up to the host clubs then to get in touch with the clubs that are coming to give them lunch options, breakfast options. Righto. Take all that out of it. You don't even need to think what you're having for breakfast that day, boys. You're heading along, you're having a bacon and egg roll. All right. I'll give you a choice of 4 lunches. Tell me now what you want. So they know what they're going to have for lunch Friday, Saturday, Sunday. All right. But then there's the big thing of off the green too. because you're away. It's one of the best times to go away and really bond and unite as a team.
Yes.
Okay, which you don't always get during the pennant season because sometimes people have got different factors they got to run off to. All right, but you're there we're in a squad of 15 this time. We're bringing 3 reserves with us, so we are in a squad of 15. We're going to stay together as best we can throughout the night. So there's always one night where, righto, fellas, we're going to have a team dinner. We're all there together, okay?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
The other nights is, righto, fellas, we're all going to start here.
And it's up to yourselves then.
You do your own thing. Let's just start here together and everyone just do their own thing. Because there's different personalities in every group as well. So they've all got their little, not cliques or anything. Look, I'm very lucky that the side that I've got now is not cliquey at all. Everyone gets on. But there's certain guys who will hang out with other guys more than what they hang out with certain others.
That's just natural. Yep.
That's just it. So you just let them go and do their own thing. And like I said, just relying on them to be adults and not do anything silly, not carry on, not get to bed at a reasonable hour. Like, I don't put any curfew on them and say, like, guys, you're gonna be in bed by 10 o'clock or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I said, I trust these guys to be adults and they know what they can do and what they can't do and what they need to be able to get themselves right. So my biggest thing was we had a get together last Saturday, which was our last get together before we go, to give them all the information. Like, these guys haven't even had to pick their rooms. I know I've told them, you're rooming with them. Don't even think about it. You're rooming with them. Just get on the green and put the bowls close for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just basically, I suppose I took that particular instance, obviously me being at the club for 10 years, to show a bit of passion as to what this sort of means to me. Like, you guys are coming down here to represent this club. This club's a massive part of me now for 10 years. It's close to me too, because I've put this side together pretty much. You do your recruitment, you bring people up through the grades, you put this side together to show that bit of passion and go, look, this is what it means to me. I'm going out here. I don't necessarily care who you are. Like, you're wearing the same shirt as me. I'm going to battle with you.
Yeah.
I'm going to do everything in my power to be in the right position that I need to be in, and the right preparation to do my best for you guys. And that's all I ask in return.
And I think that shows in terms of the length of detail for our listeners out there that, say, for instance, your club's going off to an event or you're hosting something, you've got a team of 12, 16, whatever it is, going off to something. You're going down to the level of telling the players where they got to be, at what time, what they're going to have for lunch, what room they're going to be staying in. They've got absolutely nothing to think about, only their mental preparation and physical preparation for that weekend of bowls. So you're taking away all those, as you say, external factors of what they got to think about. You haven't got everyone rocking up going, such and such running late. Where is he? He didn't bring his shoes. He didn't bring his bowls. He left something behind. Yeah. And it's all those little things that play into the factors that may lead a team to not perform to their best. So you're kind of looking at a real granular level to take away all those factors to allow your guys to play the best bowls they can.
Because they've qualified. They've qualified to play at that event by playing the game. That's all you want them to do. You want to get down there and play the game. And it is a lot easier when you're only the team manager. This is a big battle for me too, because I'm trying to manage all that while also trying to get myself right to be able to play, obviously, as well.
That's going to be interesting, DJ. Yeah,
it's tough, mate. And I tell you what, it's not getting any easier. Like, I know I've been experienced doing this for a while, but there's so many external factors now with, wife, 3 kids, the job role that I've got now at Maitland City. Like, I mean, today, I'd love to have just spent a couple of hours on the green today. I've had to drive to the Central Coast and back today for a conference and stuff. Then you got to come back and do your own work, and then you got to try and get on the green.
Yeah.
And then you're still getting messages from these guys. Like, one guy gets COVID at the minute. So it's a battle, and it's one thing that it's not, like I said, it's not getting any easier. But I know, and I've got a bit of confidence from speaking to one of the guys today. He says, like, you're a bit jittery today, but I know when you get down there, you'll be ready to go. And I know that too. Once you get on the green, you'll be ready to go, and that's the big thing. It's just getting these guys on the green so they just do their thing.
Do you have, DJ? I'm going to touch back. I think one of the key things to your weekend, and you have touched on it, that I think you're well aware of, is communication with the players. Do you have specific forms of community, like, that you contact the players on? Like, you've got many different variations. You can have groups and chats and emails, Messenger, WhatsApp. There's a lot out there these days that you can have groups, and it can sort of get out of hand a few ways. Whenever you create a group with 12 players on a group chat, it can turn from being informational, serious, motivational, to a little bit silly, to then out of hand really quickly. Is there something that you do, that you are doing, or do you think teams should do in order to combat that?
We don't have a group chat.
Okay, interesting.
Which is you just raised your eyebrow at me there.
Yeah,
that's unheard of nowadays. Okay, now let me hear this out because it works for me, and I've learned this over the years with the personalities that I've got. It works for me. Now, I'm not in the city like you. I'm in country New South Wales. A lot of these guys use technology because it's there, but they're not glued to it like certain other people are.
Yeah.
So when it comes to, like, I'm a big advocate. I use WhatsApp Messenger on the daily, like, because that's how I contact mum and dad back at home. All right, that's how I contact Andy, Dave, and James. Right, WhatsApp's fantastic. I use that. Okay. But there's guys there that don't want to use that. You know, they don't like sitting on their phone 24/7, texting, doing all this stuff. Okay.
Okay. So what do you do?
I've got the group set up in my Apple iPhone as grade 1, and I've got 14 names in it. I freak out at times because I know the number's 15 and I'm counting 14 and I'm panicking who have I missed and it's me. You know, it's just like stress I get at times. But anyway, I've got that group. I've got that group of 14 and I just go into that every time. If the information needs to get out there, I send it. Okay. And then they've got their own little groups. And I know that there's 2 or 3 guys there that will make sure someone else has seen it. So they take that little relief off me type of thing. I know certain guys they're not going to. There's guys there. I mean, you'll text them and you'll get a phone call in 3 weeks' time responding to that text message. It's just, but you learn to deal with that. And in my position, you got to learn to deal. You got to learn to deal with all these different personalities. And I know that a group chat like that will not work for the reasons that you listed. Bang on. Yeah. Some guys want to, like, there's guys in there want to have a laugh and a joke, and I'm one of them. I'm like sending silly memes and stuff like that there, having a laugh in a group chat. Yeah. There's other guys don't want to be bothered. And as soon as the beep, it goes beep, 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 the phone's nearly in the bin.
Yeah. Because you've got 12 blokes probably messaging all at the same time, and all of a sudden.
And the last thing I need is them being frustrated coming down to this event. So I eliminate that. We don't have a group chat. All right. And then they can all get in touch with me or in touch with the other guys from the team because we all talk on an individual level anyway. We're all close enough that we could do that. So to me, that works for us.
But you do need a clear sort of communication channel in order to, because you have to give the players all the details of what they need for this weekend. So
that's what it is. That's just that one group. That one group. And then because people have got Androids or iPhones or whatever they've got, those messages don't always come back into one group. They just come back to me. So then if a question needs to be asked, someone else isn't answering it for them. I'm the one answering it. So that's how we do it. So yeah, like I said, we've a lot of shift workers, so we haven't had much of a get together, but I did put out there early, righto fellas, I know we can't get together too much. We're not going to have a trial against another club. It's just too much hassle. Like, if you're not going to have the 12 that are playing there, like, what is the point, really?
Yep.
So we went early doors and we said, right, the Saturday before, which happens to be the Saturday after our presentation night, which was last Friday. So most of the guys were there too. A lot of them there is a couple of guys that travel a half hour or whatever to play. They stayed the night. We got up the next morning. We had a bit of a team meeting. This is where you were going. It was basically a reiteration of the text messages that I sent out. You know, this is where we're going. This is where we're staying. This is who you're rooming with. This is who you're traveling with. This is where you got to be at these times. Outside of that, do your own thing. Just make sure when you get on that green, you're battling for me.
Yeah.
Did you that's what it comes down to.
Give them anything like conditions of play? Did you go through the draw? Did you look at the teams you're going to play? Did you guys chat about game plays or anything like that?
We've looked at the clubs that we're going to play. I haven't looked into it in too much detail as to who we're playing. Like, I haven't sat down with the whole squad and done this. There's certain players have done that because that's what they want to do. Other players don't care.
Okay.
All right. So the happy medium is just let them go and do their own thing. They've got the link to Bowls Link, so they can go and do it, or they don't have to go and do it. Okay? Because then it leads to other conversations of certain clubs that maybe shouldn't have players there. But we'll let that go. That's been settled. Because that question does come up, and it has been coming up behind the scenes, but that has been settled now. And my big thing was, that's been settled. These players are there. You got to go and play these players. Go and play it.
Yeah.
It is what it is. You know, we can't control that. There's no point thinking about that. That is an uncontrollable.
Yeah.
Control the controllables. All right. So we put that to bed last week because it did come up. All right. And I'm going to get a text message for bringing it up, but I haven't named the players and I haven't named the club. Okay. But it has been a talking point. And there's no hiding from that. It's been a talking point. It came up at our team meeting last Saturday and I shot it down. So look, doesn't matter. What does it matter? You may not agree with it. The fact is, the rules have been done and they're playing. It is what it is. Go out and beat them.
Yeah.
So use it as a motivational thing.
Speaking on motivational, DJ, do you have any set incentives for the players, whether that be financial wise? Do you guys have any bonuses for winning this weekend or anything like that?
Yeah. So we do have bylaws at the club which have win incentives penciled in there. So if we go, there's individual game win bonuses for the pennant season, but when you get to the playoffs, it's a big one for winning the flag at the end of the day. So that's your main thing. That's what you're there for.
Yeah,
you're not there to collect whatever the monetary is for winning one game and losing your other four. What's the point? That's empty. We're not there for that. We're there to win the big prize. If you win the big prize, celebrate it, and then we'll reward you after. So that's it. We are, like I said, I'm not from a small club. We're pretty lucky that these guys will all be given out of pocket expense.
Yep.
Per day, so which a lot of clubs do nowadays. So they'll get all that too, and just like I said, just taking all those pressures or any question marks off the green, just away from them, and just going, this is where you've got to be.
Yeah, I think having that DJ touching on, I guess your club, and it's the same for Tarn Point, that we are in that lucky position that we are able to give players a daily kind of allowance for when they're away playing, and that does alleviate kind of maybe some worries that players might have in terms of going away,
financial worries and stuff.
Financial worries,
yeah,
and
absolutely.
In current climate that I've got to go away and spend on breakfast, lunch, dinner, and travel costs and fuel costs and things like that. So that does alleviate that as an external factor, DJ, and definitely something that we're lucky enough that we can sort of handle at our clubs, but might necessarily for other clubs out there might not be able to go that length. But maybe if there's
clubs in my area, there's clubs just down the road from me having to do fundraisers to go to these events. You know,
well, maybe that's something
it's not
that
easy.
Clubs might have to do. But if you can, and you're in a situation that your club can alleviate that kind of those pressures to players, then and that helps them on the green, then I think it's it's a positive thing.
Yeah, so then on an individual basis as well too, then that Saturday was my chance to go, right, oh, there's all your information. This is what you got to do. Now I can go away and focus on myself and get myself right. Because it is hard when you're trying to get out there and have a roll up, and you're like, just in my position, man, it just comes with the territory. As soon as people see you, there's questions to be asked.
Yeah,
you know, this is where we're in the club. There's questions to be asked. Someone wants to buy spray chalk when you're out there trying to have a roll up. It just happens. Okay, so the biggest thing is getting all that.
You guys got it for free, DJ, up there? Boxes of it for free? Just give it for free. Come on, DJ. What's your spray chalk? I'll back all the guys there at Maitland City. I'll get them on for you. Just give the guys some free spray chalk, DJ. Come on.
Yeah, just let me roll up. Just let me roll up. But it comes with the territory, and I understand that. As frustrating as it could be at times, it comes with the territory. And
lucky you get paid for your job, isn't it?
It's very lucky. I am blessed to get paid for doing what I do, but I don't get to play as much as I would like to or what I used to with the roles that I've taken on the club. But yeah, so when I do get those chances to get on the green for a roll-up, I find them pretty precious. But I can't win because either they come and they talk to me and it distracts me, or I put my headphones in, and then I'm rude for putting my headphones in. It is what it is, man. It's the life that I chose. I got to put up with it. It is. But I'm just doing everything I can to make sure I'm in the right preparation too. And that involves just rolling up today, and then I'll set the time to decide tomorrow. I'll have roll up again tomorrow, and then we'll get down there on Thursday. We'll have another roll up. And then we're lucky enough to get the buy on Friday, so we're not going to rush over to the club. We're just going to head over when we're ready, have a bit of a roll up on any free rinks, blow the cobwebs out Thursday morning, and then Friday morning, then rip in Friday afternoon.
So yeah, DJ, it's going to be a massive weekend for you guys, and I'll be keeping a close eye on the results on Bullslink. And for any listeners out there, let's keep an eye out for Maitland City, and especially DJ, that live stream game. I do believe that you are going to be on. So when's that? I think that's Saturday, I believe.
I think it's Saturday afternoon against Port Macquarie, and I believe, yes, our rink has been unfortunate enough to draw that.
Port City.
Let's just hope I feel more at home on that live stream than I did on Fox Sports, because I know that's what you're trying to allude to. Yeah, look at the smile on your face. Good on you.
Anyway, we wish you guys all the best, and
Thanks,
I'll definitely be tuning in for the results and hoping you guys get all the way and bring home a state flag.
I'd love to be sitting here next week doing this podcast on the video call with you, wrapped in that flag.
That'll be a good reason, DJ, to go for a bit of a video podcast instead of just voice. So yeah. So DJ, the teams you do have to play, who's in your section?
We got Warilla first up on the Friday. We got the bye first up because as we talked about a few podcasts ago, make sure you go back and listen to it because it's a doozy. There's only 11 teams going to these finals, so there's 2 sections. One's got 6 in it, one's got 5 in it. So we play the bye first up, so we're not in any rush to the club, like I said, on the Friday morning. And then I believe we've got Warilla on the Friday afternoon. Come back Saturday morning against Grandviews. Then we've got Port City, and our final game Sunday morning against Canada. And then hopefully, if we're fortunate enough to win the section, we'll play that final Sunday afternoon against the winner of the other section. Nice. Which I'm going to have a go at this. We might have to cut this one out, but I'll have a go. Soldiers Point, Cabramatta, Monaville, Narandra, Foster, and there's another one. There's another
Battle
one,
Bay,
Simon. Who is
DJ.
it?
Battle
Bay from Zone 15. I nearly got there. All right, but that's the 11 sides that are going to the number ones. Like I said, there is also grades 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 all playing.
Yeah, it's a big weekend of balls for
all over the state. Yep. Pretty much the majority of players that play pennants will be keeping an eye on things going around there. The results are on Bowls Link, brought to you by Bowls New South Wales. There is a live stream. I wouldn't bother watching it. Hopefully, it drops out Saturday afternoon. Yeah, they've had a few issues with it in the last couple of weeks, so hopefully that does it again.
I think there'll be a few comments on that one, DJ. Definitely, I'll rack a few comments on there, and I'm sure the guys might give us a mention anyway, DJ. In the live stream.
Oh, Ben loves it. Definitely.
I'll make sure. I think they will. New South Wales.
I'll see if I can get over.
They're good friends.
If I can get over Friday morning, I'll see if I can jump on the mic for a bit before I get on the green and do a bit of prep. We'll see if we can. I'll plug it then, mate. Yeah. Shameless plug.
Anyway, all the best, DJ, for the weekend, and hopefully next week you'll give our listeners some good news of a winning weekend.
Mate, I'd give up everything else I've done in the game for that. It would mean nothing more to me than bring that flag home for Club Maitland City next week. So let's go and give it a go. Well, thanks for that, Simon. And yeah, as we say, good luck to everyone who is going to play this weekend. And always remember, especially, I'll be trying very hard on the live stream. Keep that little disc on the inside. We'll see you all next week.
Good luck on the greens, everyone, and we'll catch you all next week.